Hey guys, I want to do a quick video on the Lyra Aquacolor water soluble crayons. This has been kind of a topic over on the Fobonichi Journalers group, and so I thought I would do a quick little video on my 2 cents about what I think about them. And I haven't seen a whole lot of videos on these, so I thought it would be something that maybe everybody would be interested in. I'm not an artist. I don't have a whole heck of a lot of knowledge. This is just what I've learned using them over the last couple of weeks. I picked this set up on Amazon. You can pick it up for around $50 on Amazon. And so I kind of wanted to just go over the basics of what I have learned so far. If you're looking for, one of the things I was looking for is that we use in the Fobonichi Journalers, 99% of us use a very thin paper journal. So like this is some pages out of a Miguel Ruiz. It's the same weight paper as a Moleskine, about 70 pound. A lot of people are using composition notebooks. They're using just line journals they found at, say, TJ Maxx or Walmart or something. So they're all about the same weight paper. And the trick with doing this kind of journaling has been to find products that actually work with this type of paper, that don't bleed through, that don't pill the paper, that doesn't require a lot of water, but still gives you the feel of a watercolor. The other thing is a lot of us have found that depending on the watercolor set, it's really hard to write over them. A lot of watercolors, I shouldn't say most, a lot of watercolors, because you get a chalky buildup, especially with like a Michaels watercolor palette, like this one. These are great. They add lots of color. They're under $5 with a coupon, and they're awesome. I highly recommend them. But the drawback to these is they're highly reactive with water, which means that if you touch it after it dries, if you touch it again with water, the color moves. And they're really hard to write over because they are a more chalky based, inexpensive watercolor. So I was trying to find something kind of in the middle ground of a watercolor, not quite Inktense level quality, but still a really high quality at a decent price point. And at $50, it's $49 right now on Amazon. That's less than $1 a crayon. That's a pretty good deal on these. The drawback to these that I found, there's several watercolor crayon brands, but a lot of people ask about how these compare to the Neo 2 colors. I don't know. When I went to buy a set of watercolor crayons, I looked at the Neo Color ones, but they're very expensive, considering what I want to spend on my budget. And to be honest, a lot of the reviews on the Lyra water soluble crayons were actually stated in their reviews of it that they liked these better than the Neo Colors, which I thought was pretty good. The drawback to these is, unlike the Neo Colors, you cannot buy these as a single crayon. They only come in sets. So if you're a high production artist where you're putting out lots of color and you're going through crayons very quickly, this is not going to be for you. Although you could fill in the missing colors with the Neo 2 colors or something along that lines. I'm sure that they probably have compatible colors. But in my lifetime, there's no way I'm going through these. So this was good for me. I think the average person will never blow through one of these. I wanted something that worked like a gelato, but I could use it without prepping my page. If you've been in the Fobonichi Journalers group for any amount of time, you know that the bane of my existence is people buying these gelatos. I have nothing against gelatos as an art medium. I have so many things against gelatos. Using them in our Fobonichis, the list is incredibly long. So I was trying to find something for the people that must have some kind of crayon-like thing, but that they wouldn't spend the money on gelatos. These are less expensive, they work better, and you don't have to prep your page to get them to work as well. Also, if you do prep your page, these react just like the gelatos, where you can like blend them out with your finger and stuff like that. I don't do that because that would be on my fingers, so yuck. But anyways, so that was the other reason that I got these, because I was trying to find a less expensive alternative to gelatos for people who are using them in the Fobonichis, and these are a lot less expensive. I think a set of, like the 28 count set of gelatos on sale on Amazon is like $45. So this is $49 and you get 48 colors, or you can buy the 28 set of these for $45. So you do the math. And you can't buy these individually either unless you go up to the bigger size, but that's apples and oranges. Let's get into this. This comes in a tin. It's normally attached, but I don't store mine this way, so I unhooked the hinged top. Normally it hinges, but I store mine like this because that's how I keep them. They're always used and ready to go on my table. So I just unhinged the lid. So that's how I store them. As you can tell, it has a full range of colors, from very light pastels for very bright and deep and dark colors. That was another thing that I looked for. If you're used to Inktense colors, one of the things that you'll run into with Inktense is they have only bright and vibrant colors, no pastel colors. If you know how to blend colors, you can obviously make your own. I have zero talent on that and the attention span of a gnat. I want it to be already light blue or light pink. So these are a great addition if you have Inktense pencils or blocks to go with them. Of course, these are not permanent like Inktense, so just so you know about that. Full range of colors. The way I do mine is that I always use a swatch sample for mine. So my swatch sample looks like this. And I number all of my swatches, and then I number the sides of my crayons, so that instead of trying to find the little number that's written on there, I just go down the side and find number 12, and that's the color I'm looking for. And that's how I do my swatches. I do that for all of my paints. Let's see. Well, you probably want to know how they work, right? So what I want to do is I tried to go through and find the different ways that everybody's kind of using the gelatos and the watercolors and try to test them out to see how these worked. And so I'll just slide these up here. Again, this is just paper from Miguel Ruiz. If you have Moleskine, that type of paper, it's the same paper. Okay, so what I wanted to do is a lot of us want to do backgrounds in ours. One of the cool things about these crayons is they do not leave pencil marks, which, okay, duh, they're not a pencil. But no matter what I seem to use that has some kind of tip, if you will, it always leaves some kind of pencil mark behind because you don't have the rub time when doing your background. So with these, you don't have that. You can kind of go pretty hardcore on it. And as you can see, I'm not being gentle or anything like that. And then what I usually do for my backgrounds, you can do it any way your little heart content, but I just take a baby wipe and blend it out, and you have a background ready to go. So now I can let that dry, add more color on. You can add more color now, but I find that you get a more vibrant color if you wait till it's dry, put more on. Of course, you can always just go in and use a paintbrush. And one of the hard things is finding a medium that'll work on these that you don't have to add very much water. I have got water on this brush, but it's not dripping, as you can tell, and it blends right out. We'll add just a touch more water, and I mean, it takes almost no water, and there's no marks left from the crayon at all. Didn't pill my paper. I have a complete background. You can do it either way, any way that you want to do it. Set that somewhere. And the best part about these is they don't bleed, which is always a perk, right? Another thing that I see people wanting to do, you of course can use them directly to your brush, right? Take your brush, take your crayon, add some color, paint your picture. Okay, so whatever you want to do, you got that. Use it as a paint palette, if you will. Another thing that I have seen people doing, like on the scrapbooking and that kind of stuff, they're doing it a lot with like the Prima pencils and stuff, where they take it and they get some water going and they smoosh it across the page. These work beautifully for doing that. And even if you get any little lines, you just work them out and poof, now you have your little sploosh of color. And that's with the brush. And then, of course, we all know the smooshing technique, where you take a piece of packaging. Here's the cool thing about these. You can go right onto plastic with these. Sorry for bouncing the table. Add a little bit of water. I'll just take a brush. Mix it up here. You can do it with anything. Spritz. Brushes work better because it is a wax base, so you know, you got to move it around a little bit. And then you just take it, and I think most of them do like a little smushy mush, and then you put it on your thing and you have the smoosh technique. Let's see. I got the smoosh technique, the brush to tip, the regular brush as a palette, and then you can of course do the backgrounds. And I think that's kind of what we all use for the thinner papers. That would probably be the gamut. Again, there's not going to be any bleeding on these. It dries incredibly quick. This side's already dry. Let me grab here's my fountain pen. Easily writes over it with my fountain pen. Microns, markers, any kind of felt tip. I don't have a felt tip handy. Should have had a felt tip handy, but there's no buildup at all. There's no chalky residue at all, and that was quite a bit of pigment. Let's see what I have around here. I did some blending with it. Took 3 different colors and a baby wipe, and I blended across the page. Again, no bleeding. This one, I put it up against the gelatos. I took a purple gelato and I took a purple crayon, and I scribbled some on there and I scribbled some on there. Tried to do the same amount. It took me 8 swirls to blend it out. I don't know if you can tell, but this one blended completely smooth. This one you can still see where I put the gelato down. And that's one of the huge things that happens with the gelatos. I'm not telling you not to buy gelatos. I'm just telling you that if you're doing this kind of art in your thinner paper journals, these are not your friend. You want something soft that blends very quickly with very little water, and that's why I like these over the gelatos. But anyway, so that was that, and again, no bleed through. What else do I have around here? I think that was all my examples. If there's something you'd like to see done with them, aside from doing some kind of art, because I'm not an artist, so I can't art. But I can maybe answer questions about some kind of technique that you'd like to see done with them or anything like that. But I just think they're very, very versatile for all the things that you probably want to do in your journals, from backgrounds to detailed artwork, because again, you just use a brush and use these as a palette. If you want to do the smooshing technique in your scrapbooking or even in your journal, and you know, I just think they're just an all-around great crayon. They cost less than $1 a crayon. Again, you have to buy them as a set. There are smaller sets though. You don't have to buy the big one, but why not, right? They're a great addition to your Inktense. If you have Inktense pencils or blocks already, these would be a great addition to them, just to get your lighter pastel colors. They have gray, the light blue, the light pink. I love them. I've really enjoyed having them. I think the price point is great for just about all people. This is something you could save towards, and again, they come in smaller sets if you didn't want to get the big one. I'm checking my little notes. Make sure I covered it all. See? Notes. Anyways, I think that's it. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, that kind of stuff, leave it down below. If there's something you'd like to know about it, I will leave a link to where I pick these up, and then you can go and read more about them there if you want. And that'll be down in the description box. Great! I think that's it. Y'all have a great day. I will see you in the next video. Bye now!